So,
because I made a good point, but it's okay.
you had mentioned patriarchy. I'm just curious. So, perhaps we can get a sense of what the patriarchy is, but I do want to go around the table on this. Do you believe that there is a patriarchy? I think this is a yes or no. And we'll go around the table.
Just like plain yes or no question?
Sure.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, of course.
I believe there's patriarchal values definitely in the majority of societies, just because throughout society males have definitely been in the leadership roles and everything like that. I wouldn't say that there's a necessary like straight patriarchy and that's the only way you can look at it, but there are definitely patriarchal values in most societies where men lead.
Yes.
No.
I think we're in a little bit of patriarchy society.
Okay.
I actually think that the patriarchy is necessary. It's a necessary entailment of descriptive reality.
Yeah, I would also say patriarchy is a real thing. I would disagree with your guys' definition of it. I also view patriarchy as a principle to be a very good thing. And as somebody said in the super chat earlier during the show, I think patriarchy is something that has historically actually protected women. So one of the patriarchal structures. What, you want to move on?
No, but I mean, I want to ask the women here, what is the patriarchy?
Yeah. I was actually about to ask them too the same thing, or if you have a contribution.
Well, you've asserted that it exists, so the burden is on you to articulate what precisely.
But he said it exists too.
Yeah. I didn't say that.
I can articulate how I see patriarchy, okay. But Brian's asking you guys, what is it?
I mean, if you're asking my own view, I don't think there's a patriarchy because I think we live in a gynocentric society. But what's your?
I think the patriarchy. So from the beginning.
Can you talk straight into the mic, please?
Yeah. Okay, so we were always raised with our parents and our grandparents, and the advice that I was given through my mother and the advice that I was given through my male family members.
Hold on.
Modest Hikima donated $200. Brixon, thanks for saving me the time, money and brain cells by raising the TTS. Chase gonna be headbutt that mic all night long. Madison, welcome back. Real. Girl 1,3, read a book please. At whatever shorts too.
Yo, Jacama, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Go ahead.
Yeah, do you not think that like
you're saying your parents, your grandparents?
How present was it
Speak
with
into
like?
Your mic, please.
Yeah, so when you are raised traditionally, you're raised by your father and your mother, and your father does the certain tasks and your mothers do the certain tasks. So patriarchy is also like kind of aligned with like traditionalism, and you guys like traditionalism. Mm-hmm. I'm not ever saying specifically I hate the patriarchy. I'm saying that there's things that get to a certain point where it's not about protecting women and it's not about the protection of everybody. It's about making your power the most in the room.
Gotcha.
But so what is the patriarchy?
Is being primarily raised by a father or a father figure
so you're
in
saying,
this society.
You're saying patriarchal traditions within the family are the patriarchy societally? Because what I heard you say is there's patriarchal tradition within families, but there's also men in society. It sounds like you're saying that exploit women.
Families are in society.
Okay.
Here, go ahead. What is the patriarchy?
I think it's less about like who's on top of our society. Well, I mean, you can see that there is a patriarchy with it, or in how our government works. There's a lot of men on the top, you know, CEOs and politicians and stuff like that. But more intrinsically, I believe that it's has to do with the social values that we hold. You know, like she said, within our families, but more of like within our day-to-day actions, within the way that we as women and even you as men can go about things. So like, I think it's more about social values and social occurrences. So one thing with how the patriarchy affects men, for example, is men's ability to express their feelings. So it's often said that men cannot thoroughly express their feelings or do not feel safe to express their feelings because it's viewed as like feminine or
Grid 1 Motorsports donated $200. I am patriarch. I protect and value my wife and children. They sleep under the blanket of protection I provide, the leader of the family, the bedrock upon all that is built. You should be as fortunate.
Yeah, I think you're good.
Very
one.
based.
So you were saying that
Men can't express their feelings
Men can't
because of the patriarchy.
yes,
I
that
would
be a
actually-
patriarchal value. I think.
I would
told
actually
that they're
argue
not
that's
supposed
something
to.
that women enforce on men, not that other men enforce on other men.
I don't know. Most women that I've encountered have been not really caring or like pretty neutral, and if not,
Not really caring about men.
no, about men
Male
contributing their
emotions.
feelings. So like neutral about, I guess, okay, not negative. They're more positive and accepting of it from the women that I've met. Now I do understand that there are women that are not accepting of men's feelings. If that does that?
Well,
is that coming
I'm
across?
sort
I
of
don't
more
know
so
a lot
talking
of
about
them.
vulnerability. And typically, when men display vulnerability in a romantic and dating context, that's typically punished by potential romantic partners.
Yes,
It is.
very much so. Absolutely.
Potential romantic partners or a
feel like-
romantic partner.
Both.
In your
I
opinion-
would
in your
argue-
opinion,
there's a very big
ladies,
difference.
ladies.
There's a very big
I would
difference.
argue, as far as potential romantic partners go, I mean, women. If a guy wants a girl and he's showing weakness early on in the relationship, or like maybe is too deep in his feelings and negative emotions, I've heard it from many girls, gives them the ick real fast,
Okay,
makes them
yeah.
unattracted. But what I would also say is, if a man has an established romantic relationship with a woman and she really respects him and is very attracted to him, that gives the man room to open up and be vulnerable with like weakness or those like,
Yeah, so maybe
like if-
there's just certain times and places where people should be vulnerable. Like, I'm not going to come up here and then cry to you about my problems and expect you to be
Well, it's less about-
empathetic with me because we don't know each other like that.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's
Yeah.
less about that there's certain times and places to be vulnerable, and it's
Yeah, that's the
hold
thing.
on. It's to Brian's point that she's saying that men not expressing their emotions is because of patriarchal structures disincentivizing men from expressing their emotions. But the reality is, if I take a girl out on a date and I start crying about something in the beginning of the date, there's like a 75 to 90% chance it's going to give the girl the ick, which is to Brian's point that this is something that's often regulated by females.
Wouldn't that
Wouldn't that
but I'm
turn you
not
off
sitting
too
here-
if a girl
What?
cried on a first date?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it depends. It depends.
That's like a
it would be
very
more socially
skewed
acceptable, and it
way of,
depends.
like,
It wouldn't be.
saying
Yes,
that.
would be.
yes, it absolutely would.
Yeah.
There's no question.
No question.
Like,
Yeah. Like if you go to a party and
feel like
there's a
we're
girl
living in,
crying
like,
in the
different
corner,
reality
you're kind of like,
fields.
oh, poor
Wait.
girl. If the guy's doing it, you're like, what the hell?
In
Yeah.
any case, to keep it moving on,
I mean,
did you
would
want
you
That's
say
not
what
what
I
I
felt like
think.
I was
ladies,
crying?
ladies,
Stop.
ladies,
Not what I
That's
ladies.
really like that's you.
Yo,
Azure,
yo,
Azure.
stop.
Well, most people
We asked
probably
you
do.
earlier before the show began. Please respect the show's rules. You keep violating them. Let's have a civil discussion with one person.
Did you
talking.
want to add anything to your sense of what the patriarchy is?
I think that was a pretty solid example
Okay.
of what the patriarchy does in our society.
What about you?
Well, you asked for the definition, correct?
Your
Sure.
definition?
Yeah.
Or my definition. So in my opinion, it's the hierarchy of males in American society, politically and
Sociologically.
sociologically. Societally, yes.
Okay.
The roles of. Is there more to that
So it's
sentence?
just that men are throughout the hierarchy, and
Yes,
they're
there's a hierarchy with men. That's my definition.
And men. So are you saying men occupy the top positions of power, both
most-
politically, in corporations, etc.?
Yes.
Okay. Perhaps societally too. Okay. What about you? I think you said that you believe there's a patriarchy, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think, a patriarchy is definitely defined by, the predominant male leadership roles in a society, right?
Okay.
And, I think it's pretty true that, throughout our society, women had the inability to vote, for example, right? Women had the inability to
Over
even...
100 years ago, but
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
sure if the inability to vote is evidence of a current patriarchy, but
Yeah. No, but I'm saying, like throughout our society, right? That's definitely kind of been a factor, right? And I think we're off
so
a
you're
lot-
talking historically.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think, we are off a lot better now. I think there are still, some political roles, some roles in, bigger companies and everything like that, where you can still see male dominated roles. But I feel like as a society, we are becoming a lot more equal, but I think there are still some leftovers.
Okay, sure. And then lastly with you, and then I have a follow-up. Go ahead.
Yes, I did think there was a patriarchy.
Sure.
What is it?
I think it's a male-dominated world, but I also think men will continue to lead. But like she said earlier, there could be the outlier, a woman, but in my opinion, I just feel like it's a male-dominated.
So question for you, for those of you who believe in the patriarchy, under patriarchy, are women oppressed?
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Not in every way, but yeah.
I think the patriarchy is a tool for oppression.
Okay.
The oppression is a very hard word, but yes, there is a lot of, under patriarchy, women are essentially oppressed. Yeah, but that's a very heavy word to just, it's a trigger word or whatever.
I think honestly, currently now there is like a huge step up for women, where women are given the opportunities for better education, you know, roles into bigger companies, everything like that. And I think, you know, there is still, you know, points of like where, you know, men might look at women as, you know, like not being able to lead and everything like that. And I think there are still those stereotypes present, but I think women are getting to the point where they're able to.
I think I would agree with what she said. I don't think we're fully oppressed, but it's being worked on.
Okay. Under patriarchy, are men oppressors?
Not all of them, I guess.
But, okay, some of them.
I think it is a tool that can be used by both men and women, and it affects both men and women.
So there are women that use the patriarchy to oppress both men and
It's
women?
less about using consciously, but it's, like I said, it's very socially ingrained. So like in a lot of our actions and even the things that we say, like the way that we use words, it can be very subtle, and then it can be very extreme as well.
What would an example be of a woman who utilizes the patriarchy in order to oppress somebody?
It would be kind of like the example that I provided earlier, where you guys were talking about how women will shame men for being vulnerable. Women are using the patriarchal structure, the patriarchal standards that have been created. I don't know if there was a specific person that coined that.
Yeah, but why would that be oppression? Why would that fall under the oppression category?
It is very emotionally damaging for men to not feel like they can talk about their feelings. Right?
Okay, hold on. Under patriarchy, are men oppressors?
I don't like using the oppressive, like, I don't like that debate.
Well, if you said women can be oppressed, so.
Yes.
Okay.
So
and
I can't find a lighter word than oppression, but yes.
Okay. What about you?
No, not necessarily. I mean, the entire terminology kind of bases like off of society as a whole. So I think it's just, you know.
Okay, go ahead.
No.
Okay, so one or two more follow-up questions here. You guys are women, you're feminists. I think all of you believe in the patriarchy. Are you oppressed?
I've gotten used to the position that I've been put in.
That you've been put in.
When you say the position that you've been put in, is it an oppressed position?
It could be seen by some, yeah.
Okay, so
depending on your views of sex
let me
work.
clarify the question. Are you oppressed, and if so, how?
I'm oppressed. I guess, yeah. The way that I started doing sex work at 18, I started 2 weeks after I turned 18 because I was on social media a lot at the age of like 16.
Hold on. Hold on. Let's save the story. Brian's question was, are you oppressed, and if so, how?
Yeah, I'm telling you how. Being told at age 16, 17 that you're going to be making hundreds and hundreds of dollars if you sell them content of you naked, is that not like...
Is that oppression or opportunity?
You think that's an opportunity?
Well, hold on.
Or privilege.
Hold on.
Or
a second.
privilege.
I wouldn't even say that's a privilege either.
Respectfully, I think that you have a serious victim complex. You said that you were put in this position, but you're also telling me that someone came to you and told you, hey, you can make a lot of money.
Not one person.
So, okay, multiple people told you, hey, you can make a lot of money if you do this work. And then did you make the decision to start doing the work, or were you forced into it? Did you make the decision?
Do you want like a release?
I'm
You
just
said you don't want me to
asking.
trauma dump, so I'm not going to explain it to you.
You
said don't trauma
fair.
dump, and you said don't make a personal attack, and I feel like you are.
I'm not trying to make a personal attack, but you're telling me that you were okay. Let me put it this way. You're telling me that you were essentially forced. You were put in this position, and I'm asking. I want to say this respectfully. Were you forced by someone into this position? Like, were you trafficked into it, or was it a choice that you made?
Yeah, respectfully, I'm not going to answer that question. That's like not something I'm comfortable answering.
Okay. Could you make the choice to leave the industry?
Yeah.
But you don't want to?
No, because I feel fine now.
So you're making the decision to stay in this position?
Yeah, because I feel great now about myself.
Okay.
Okay. How are you oppressed? Or are you oppressed? How are you oppressed? As a
I
woman.
would say, okay, yes, I'm oppressed, and I would say that more than likely, unless you are a billionaire, everybody in this room is oppressed. And I'm not saying you have to agree with me, but from the perspective that I take with capitalism and the other social issues, I would say, to put it shortly,
well,
I'm oppressed and everybody is
well,
oppressed.
hold on.
Or most,
but
a lot of
that's
people.
not, that,
everybody
wait,
who's not a billionaire is oppressed?
It's very complicated.
But you're talking about class oppression. We're talking
Within
about
just
patriarchy. So I suppose gender. As a woman, how are you oppressed?
Yeah, do men oppress you?
Are you oppressed as a woman?
Yes.
How so?
I guess wage difference would be a good example, just generally.
Okay.
A specific example for myself. Yes, okay. Being viewed differently and being viewed as dumb or less intelligent simply because I'm a woman or a young woman.
How do you know that you're being viewed in that way because you're a woman?
Yeah, versus you just say dumb stuff. Like maybe that's why people view it that way instead of it being because you're a woman. So he's asking, what's the distinction between maybe you're saying dumb stuff versus they see it this way because I'm a woman?
Because I know if men were saying the same stuff that I'm saying, they would be respected. And like in this conversation,
Look, I'm going to be honest. If a man was saying the same stuff, I wouldn't respect him more for saying it because he was a man, and I would actually go a lot harder against what he was saying.
Andrew, do you have anything on the wage gap? Because she mentioned that.
I've got something. You said that you do OnlyFans?
Yeah, it's very small,
Okay.
but yes.
So men who do OnlyFans make a fraction of what women make on OnlyFans. Would you say that men who do OnlyFans are oppressed because there's a wage gap between them and women?
And is it due to sexism? The wage gap on OnlyFans, is that due to the sexism?
Well, it's because of the patriarchy, probably.
So
It's a
there's
market.
actually not
It's
really
supply
a wage.
and demand.
But so why is it supply and demand when women have an advantage, but when men have an advantage in some field, it must be evidence of sexism, wage gap, and patriarchy?
No, because this was a
Gay
business
men have
based off of
OnlyFans
sex.
too. It's just
Huh?
not.
Yeah, this is an industry based off of sex.
And
so
well, okay, let's talk. Let me ask you a question.
There are not as many gay people as there are straight. Gay men who want to buy porn do not.
Why don't straight women want to consume?
Because I
They do.
don't want to buy porn.
Not
personally.
at the same frequency that men do. But let me
you're
ask you
not-
guys.
you're not
I
on
barely
that
watch
side
Let
of
me ask you guys a
porn.
question. Let me ask you guys a question. Hold on. Okay. Do you think, for example, the WNBA or women's soccer, right? You hear stories they're paid less than their male counterparts. WNBA players make far less than male NBA players. Do you think that is evidence of a wage gap? Do you think that's sexist? Do you think
Because
that's
men don't
unfair?
watch it.
But do you think it's unfair? Go ahead.
I think it's less of a wage gap and more of men. So men are the main consumers of sports content, right? and then they generally don't have a lot of respect for women's sports. They don't.
Maybe they just don't want to watch it,
I'm
just
gonna
like
interrupt.
women don't want to watch male sports. Sorry for interrupting, but like,
Or males
It's a
only fans.
social.
yeah.
Yeah, so
that's
like
what
I would think of it the same way as like the OnlyFans. It's a almost like being an independent contractor. There's no set wage. Now,
Okay.
for other jobs where there are set wages, like the medical profession or like the medical field, you can see a huge gap in men's salaries versus women's salaries.
In the medical field?
Yes.
Or just
Are
like
you telling me
office
that
jobs.
female doctors and male doctors get paid vastly different wages?
Yes.
Yes.
The exact, working the same hours with the same credentials in the exact same discipline.
That's according to the studies that I've seen.
What were the male wages and what were the female wages?
I mean, I can pull them up real quick if you want to come back.
Well,
It's probably just a fraction
I don't
less,
think-
but it's still there.
well, just going back to the.
I need the exact number.
I honestly, I'm calling cap. I think if
But
there's,
women
if
are
I,
caregivers.
hold on, I think if there's a male doctor and if there's a female doctor and they have the same degrees, the same qualifications, they're working the same job. Let's use surgeons as an example, extremely
Exactly,
highly
yeah.
paid. If they have the same degrees and qualifications, they do the same kinds of surgeries, and they work the same hours, I would be willing to bet they're making the same money.
But it's
I
proven that
regardless
they're
of
not.
size.
More likely to get
do you
hired
have
as
any-
well, 'cause
Yes,
they're
they are
women.
probably more likely to get hired.
Do you
than
have
the
Probably
women.
female
Yeah,
doctors?
because they can
One
pay
at a
the
time,
women
one at a time.
less.
No, they can't.
They pay.
No,
You're gonna argue
if there was a
on a
hospital that had listings for surgeons and there was a female surgeon and a male surgeon and they were doing the exact same job but they were paying the woman way less because she was a woman, she could probably file a lawsuit against that hospital and sue them to high heavens.
This has been legislated since the 1960s.
say so.
If it was the case that corporations could get away with paying women 25% less, 30% less, whatever the number is,
They would do
corporations
it.
would just hire women.
Yeah.
As a businessman, if I could save 30% on wages paid to employees, I would, and they were just as competent, I would of course just be hiring women.
But in the eyes of, would you hire all women?
If he could
I
save
mean, if you have all
30%
of
I don't-
on his
I
bottom
don't
line,
I don't have
His
a.
question is like this, right? To frame it easy.
I didn't get to answer the.
If you
one
are
question
the head of a corporation, let's say you're one of these female CEOs, okay, and you see that you can pay women less than you can their male counterparts to get the same amount of work out of them, then why wouldn't corporations leverage that in order to bring in more women employees and pay them less? That's the question.
yeah.
That's a good question. I'm not a CEO. I honestly don't know. I don't know how they do it because, like you guys said, it's illegal. It's technically
Yeah, I mean,
they
but
have
that
they
makes
put
sense.
them
There's so
at
many
lower.
loopholes.
There's a hierarchy in all jobs, so the men get the bigger. They get the bigger parts of the jobs. They get the better employment.
Okay, but
benefits
even,
and
even taking
so
that in,
there's like
yeah,
there will
go
be
ahead.
someone ahead of a company and then people working around them are mostly men, and then under those men there's the women, like in American Psycho where Patrick Bateman had his assistant that was a woman. She obviously is getting paid less, and that's usually their part.
Wait, she's getting paid less
What do you
than
mean she's obviously getting paid
than
less?
Patrick
Because
Bateman?
she-
You don't even know how much Patrick Bateman's assistant is getting paid.
Because
It's
she's
a
an
fictional
assistant.
movie.
I know.
Wait,
but-
so are you saying the assistant?
for an example,
isn't he a lawyer in? Is he a lawyer in
No,
that film?
he's an
or-
investment
no, he's an
banker.
investment banker.
Okay.
But
So the assistant should be paid as much as the investment banker?
No, he's
I'm
saying
saying-
she's definitely getting paid less because she's a woman.
no, I am saying
Versus-
that
Even though
she-
we don't know her wage in the movie.
Versus the other
Am I allowed to finish?
non-existent
You guys,
male assistant?
you
Go
guys
ahead.
misconstrued
Go
my
ahead.
entire what I was
Okay,
trying
go
to get
ahead.
at. So I would like to
Okay.
finish.
I need
that.
to return some tapes, but go ahead.
I'm saying that they're hired at lower positions than the men in those and whatever. I'm speaking from like when you're working.
Sorry, I didn't mean to press that. My bad.
Thank you, but yeah, there's a hierarchy. So yes, there's going to be more men that are the investment banker.
Grid One Motorsports donated $200. I refute wage gap. Wish I could have gotten hired only on the basis of being a woman. The privileges a woman is afforded are off the chart. Thank the patriarchy.
Oh.
And I wanted to finish the part about me because you guys asked before.
Oh, like how are you? Are you oppressed? How are you
Yes,
oppressed?
and I was
Okay,
going to answer.
Sure. Let's
I
go
don't
back to
believe
that.
that I am oppressed because I make a good wage. I mean, as a woman, societally, I've been treated different. I don't know if you've had the, are you going to get kidnapped when you're a child? When you're a little boy, did your mom pull you aside and tell you these things that you're going to be a victim,
My mom was terrified I would be kidnapped.
Yeah. So, but a lot of men aren't told those things. Like, women are raised that way to where we're
Well,
scared.
actually, speaking
But
of
I
the-
don't believe now. I'm saying now.
Okay.
But I believe in general, yes, that women are oppressed. But I am at a place of,
Well, just I want to add one little point.
I have more. There's people that can't speak for themselves that are of less status. I make enough money. I have my own apartment. I'm able to pay my own bills and that kind of thing. So I don't believe that I am oppressed because I work by myself, like personally.
But when you
me.
were a young child, you were oppressed because there were fears
No,
that you
I'm
would
not
be
saying
kidnapped?
the oppression thing. I'm saying that I don't believe I'm oppressed, but sex workers in general and women
Are oppressed?
Yes, the
So
lower
why
the,
couldn't they
the
just,
lower
like,
the
choose
status,
not to do it, though, and
women are
stop the
of lower
oppression?
status, so they generally societally
Are they?
the lower status. Yes, besides being
Not sure I agree with that,
being able to get free drinks at a bar, which is like wonderful,
or not,
cool.
Not being
I mean,
subject to military conscription.
What is it that, when you say status, what do you mean by status? What do you mean by they're a lower status in society?
Because women are just of lower status. We're not
That's
taken
just
as.
begging
That's a
the
rather-
I'd say
question.
different status.
That's a rather
but
sexist
So you just-
statement for you to make.
So if I ask you, if
I mean,
say,
I guess
what's the
consider me-
distinction?
He's not making that statement.
I mean, I guess
obviously.
consider me sexist.
She just did.
No. But what I'm saying is that if I ask you, what
I'm
makes
genuinely
them,
trying to.
Yeah, if I say what makes them lower status, and you say because they're lower status, it's regressive. So you're just kind of restating the claim.
How are they
Okay.
lower status?
What makes them lower status?
Societally, there's a hierarchy. There's just a hierarchy. Men are up here. Women are here.
That's a pretty
depending
sexist. Do you think-
depending on
what can women not
and then
do that men can?
and then what can women?
Do you think
can I
men?
was talking
Do you
with
think
them.
men are more valued than women?
Yes, absolutely. And
Let me ask you a question then.
especially if sex
Hold on,
workers
hold
are
on.
of less
One
and
of the
less.
rules that we talked about at the beginning of the show is when either of us are talking, you need to stop. Brian wanted to ask you a follow-up question. You keep talking over everybody else on the panel, okay? Let him host the show, please. I'm starting to get fed up with it.
I'm trying to. I'm just bouncing.
I know
off
you're trying. I know you're
conversation.
making a lot of
It's
different
okay.
points.
It's all
but,
right.
like,
It's all right. It's okay. It's okay.
I'm not.
I'm
okay
not
with
trying
it.
to disrespect. I'm
Don't
trying
worry.
to bounce off the conversation.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine. I'll continue with the conversation.
Yes.
So, if it is the case that men are more valued than women, why is it the case that throughout all of human history, when there's a war, for example, men are the ones who are sent to war to go and to die? In my view, I believe that men are actually viewed as the disposable sex. I would argue that women are more valued because when it comes down to warfare, men are going to be the ones that are sent to war to go and die. Men are disposable. Women are valued.
When women went to war in the 50s, or when men went to
In the
war,
50s, are you talking about the Korean War? What are you talking about?
What war,
I'm
what war
not
did
well
women go
I'm
to?
not well versed in
Which
the
war did women go?
specific-
Which
the
war did
historical-
women go to?
But there was a certain war time period where women were taking the work. They were doing all.
Okay,
They were
I
sending
see
the
what you're saying.
clothes. They were in the workshops.
Is that them going to war or being
no,
part of the
and
war
they
effort?
they would have to go
just
to.
let me finish, please. But go ahead. No, I was. You interrupted me. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm okay. I'm gonna.
No,
just-
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I would like you to finish.
Just go ahead.
I
But you
lost-
said when women went to war, but I think you were talking. I was trying to clarify your point. I think you were trying to say that women were assisting with the war effort. But are you talking I think you were referencing World War II. Women did not, at least in the United States. There's maybe one Russian sniper division. I might be using the wrong word there. Women in mass were not involved in World War II from a combat perspective. But so, what were you saying?
I forgot.
Okay,
But-
just
So
out of
I would-
curiosity,
I just-
hold on.
I
Out
would
of
like to ask-
hold on. I'm really tired of this conversation. Out of curiosity, for you two, do you guys feel oppressed in society as women?
I feel privileged.
You feel privileged. Why do you feel privileged?
There's a bunch of things as a woman that I can get away with that men can't.
Like what?
like certain kind of expectations.
Okay.
Like, say we're walking on a sidewalk and some person comes up to me, I would expect them, like, and did something weird or, you know, made me feel uncomfortable. 9 out of 10 times, like, say I'm walking around in Seattle, there'll be another guy that's like, dude, what are you doing? Right? But if a dude gets in an argument with another guy, like, it's a fight, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel valued. I feel like there's so many things that I can do. I feel like I'm picked over men a lot because I am a woman.
What do you think of the narrative that women are just oppressed throughout all of society by the patriarchy?
I think it's bullshit, and I think that it's a victim mentality, and I think that the more that you preach about it and the more that you try and convince yourself that, the more of a victim you will probably behave like.
I would agree with that. How about yourself? Do you feel oppressed?
No, not at all. How our household works is my husband is the head of the household. And I absolutely love gender roles. I think that they're really important. And I think that the sooner that we embrace them, you can find freedom. And with my husband, I have learned to be a submissive wife. And he always tells me, you submit yourself into freedom. If you go down the street, you can do whatever and say whatever you want. You carry a big husband. I fall under the protection of my husband, of a man. I think societally, I think that men dominate the system, but I think for the right reason.
What is that reason?
I think that men are qualified for, how can I explain this? I think that...
Do you think it possibly comes down to like competency, drive, motivation, male, testosterone fueled motivation for success and to reach the top of industries and stuff like that?
I think so. Yeah. With the workforce, I think that men absolutely have that driving force. I think that women are, here's going to be the hot take. I think that women are made to be feminine, to be supportive of men.
Fakelanus donated $200. Men literally die to protect women. Men work themselves to death doing hard jobs for theer women. Fakelanus, perhaps you never meet these men because you do not value yourself. Get some help, be Betty.
Betty.
If you want to continue on with your point, go ahead.
I think that toxic masculinity, I don't know if I'm going too far off topic, I think is a joke. I, again, really support gender roles. I think that they're really important. And I think that we're losing sight of it. So
you don't feel oppressed conforming to a gender role in which you're submitting to your husband and subordinate to him?
I really cannot think of any time that I have ever felt oppressed. I am just sitting here just speechless.
Okay, we got a couple here. Go ahead. You go ahead, then you go ahead.
Mine's going to be real quick because I have to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
I'm really happy for you guys that you guys have had really good lives like that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We all have issues. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I'm not saying that I grew up with a perfect life. It's a really interesting perspective because I actually, 10 years ago, I started off as a boss babe. All I wanted to do was work. All I cared about was money. I thought that my status depended on my monetary value. And it took a lot of work and a lot of arguments with my husband for him to make me realize, hey, being a submissive wife, it's in the Bible, first of all. I know that a lot of people are not religious, but I am.
This is gold. I want to go in on this for a moment, if I may. How did your husband convert you from the boss babe mentality to the submissive wife mentality?
It took years. First of all, it took years, and
what made the light bulb go off?
Breaking down the pride.
Down the pride.
You have to kill the self. You have to kill what you think is the most important thing, which is yourself, and you have to start doing things for others and the people that you love. So once I had identified that pride is the killer of all good things, then at that point is when it started being very clear to me that I didn't want to be submissive because I cared about myself, and what I got out of the relationship was the most important thing, rather than how can I give to the other person as much as I can without getting anything back.
Ooh, that's gold right there. What advice would you give out there to the women who are stuck in their pride and don't want to become those submissive housewives? Because it's something a lot of women struggle with.
I would ask what fulfills you.
Okay.
And does money fulfill you? What is it that drives you to live? I mean, for me, when I had children, my life got significantly better. I mean, the the meaning of fulfillment, happiness, joy, love, all of those things, I experienced it in a way that I never thought I could. So there's hope. I know not all women want to have kids and want to be in a marriage or in a relationship, but I wouldn't discount yourself. And I love when my husband said, just submit yourself into freedom, because once you do, I get the respect from my husband that I deserve. He absolutely treats me like a queen. Being a queen means as soon as I come in with the groceries, you know what? They're at the door, they're taking the groceries out of my hand. I don't have to lift a finger. I don't pay the bills. I get, what do you need, honey? Here's the money. What do you need? Buy yourself whatever you want. That's what it's like to be treated as a queen. But I treat him like a king. And I look at him like he's my leader, he's my protector, he's my provider, and I'm gonna treat him with respect. When he gets home from work, I'm not gonna bombard him. Go take a shower, here's your dinner. I'll be ready for you when you're all settled in. And I know a lot of women don't wanna hear this, but this is reality, because look, I've been married for almost 6 years and it has not been easy. And some family members know what we've gone through.
How much easier has it become since you've adopted that traditional gender role?
It's always going to be a challenge,
yeah,
because by nature we always want to go back to the self,
okay,
and we always want to serve ourselves.
But has it become easier? Has it made you guys live in greater harmony?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.